Imagine replacing a team member with a machine. Now, with Industry 4 rolling on, this may not be a stretch into the future. Imagine a team member now robotically being able to efficiently do their job with laser focus and performing that function that they've been tasked to do. How different do you think your strategy within your design phase would look? Or maybe your estimating? Or how would this look within the construction field? We're seeing this already on projects today. And this has changed the business applications. How would your set of applications look if this was the case? What would this business model of yours look like? How would this change your revenue models? How would this transform the way you work and spend maybe more time at home? And how would this function on a day-to-day basis within your project team? Remember, we always need people to manage a process. That's a given. But the busy work would be very different if we had robotic people working with us. We would need to manage them, or our robot colleagues, if you want to call them that, through this consistent approach to each and every task that they are given. And this hopefully would remove or reduce the transaction cost for relearning or maybe reprogramming from one project to the next. Think about blockchain and how it's already starting to manipulate the data that we're giving the machine. Now, a BIM environment is a visualized database. And once designers, as well as the other stakeholders, start to realize this, the whole world of possibility now opens up. This digital information within this digital twin is code, and it's data. And data is data in the eyes of a computer. And it is equal and only distinguished by the format that we give the computer. The point of this is that the data that is produced, let's say, by a BIM creator, who's actually a person, is open to the same type of manipulation as the data that is being produced by any other computer application. And this way it lends to solutions such as blockchain. But let's just get back to the real world. We are leaders of real flesh and blood, and we are people. And apart from understanding all this jargon that I've just maybe mentioned, we still need to know what motivates team people. We also have to understand how they think and how they feel and what drives them to come to work. Is it just a job? We need to understand what gives them their best or their worst on any given day. And we need to coach them as leaders. We need to give them that technical resource so they can do their jobs with due diligence and oversee maybe this digital process. You need to set the standards for that so they can now then produce data that can be required for machine learning. The important thing we need to remember is that we shouldn't always need to manage our team. We let them manage themselves while we can concentrate as leaders on the real role of being a BIM manager or a digital lead. But you need to keep in mind that you are certainly not the only manager on a team, or for that matter within your division. But you're still the most important person in your eyes on that team, and you better know that. If you want to be this rock and roll BIM manager, then stop competing against the other guy down the corridor or the lady. They might be more experienced than you. They may even be more tech savvy than you. They may even be more kinder to animals than anyone else in the building, or not. But keep in mind that you need to keep your feet on the ground if you want to be a rock star. You're the most important person in your eyes, and you need to tell the team that. You need to be the guy who sets that bar, and you must be the BIM lead. And everyone else will then take your lead. If you're the type of person that resists sharing new technology and skills with your team, or you feel maybe intimidated by a team member who may, for example, have better Navisworks skills than you, or you try to prevent a team from introducing new processes because you don't understand them, or you fear that you're losing out because they understand the software and you don't. It does not help to ghost them or, for that matter, prevent them from sharing their ideas on these new frontiers. Your team members will always be checking over their shoulders to make sure that you're not around. And they won't perform as well, which in turn means that the division simply won't deliver a successful outcome on that project. And I think we all need to be cognizant of the fact that the construction industry is one of the toughest industries to convince people of change. And it requires more than just grit, because we also need to deal with office politics, complaining, negative talk, resistance to this embracing of new technology, and holding on to old ways of working. Unfortunately, too many still see problems instead of embracing the challenges and the opportunities that BIM can offer a team as well as the built environment. Remember, projects succeed or fail in the back of your team. And it's therefore vital that you maintain team satisfaction throughout the project lifecycle and probably beyond. A top brass or even a high-level executive may be at ease with making decisions that benefit themselves or the company. But as a digital leader or a BIM manager, you are challenged by the traditional people as well as the work methods. And while you're doing this, you still need to promote the digital process while juggling with office or project politics. It is each and every individual's responsibility to ensure that the choices are made that will benefit not only the project, but the company as well as the client. And this is some sound advice. If you're feeling you're not up to this role, then step down. Let someone else take those bull by the horns. Remember, it's your professional duty as a leader to set the digital standard and raise that bar and be the person that you want to be that needs to lead a team to digital success. If your team is a flock of birds, just make sure they don't fly around like swallows. Where one goes, everyone must go. And if you're going to be the person they're going to follow, make sure that you excel and you shine and you show everyone else to become more enthusiastic, not always an expert, and show them the opportunities that the future and what it lies ahead if they get this transformation right. I worked for a project manager on a construction site in Mauritius. He was a brilliant project manager. He led the team well. And when it came to work, we all trusted him and we put our invested interest in him during the challenging times, especially when we had a tight timeline to meet and we were trying to reach really tight budgets. And although we were a brilliant expat team, there was one trait that really stood out for me in him. And I learned something called a common sense strategy. He always treated everyone on site fairly, and he gave every single team member a chance to explain themselves before he unleashed the gates of hell if things weren't on track. No matter what the outcome of the scenario was, he always had this knack of making sure we left the project office or the site meeting with a positive atmosphere. And when we didn't reach the targets that he had set, we still made up for it in the pub with him, sipping on our Green Island rums. Yet we respected him and he respected us for our skills. And he always raised a toast at the end of the day for a good day's hard work. That's a true BIM leader. Now, Gavin Crump, also known as Aussie BIM Guru, is our mentor for this week. And since connecting with Gavin during lockdown, I found him to be a highly motivated and self-driven BIM enthusiast who also likes to share his skills as well as his determination with thousands of followers that he has already.
I've been fortunate enough during my career to work at a lot of levels of teams and companies when it comes to interacting with BIM. As Vaughan's already explained, it's really important to know where you stand in a lot of ways in your team and organisation. And if you don't have a good bearing of this, you might become hard to understand, or even worse, hard to work with. Whilst we're all focused on building things in the AEC industry, at the end of the day, the machine truly does run on the interactions between people, not just how we interact with technology and tools, although these are pretty important as well. To be an effective BIM leader, I think you need to master a few key aspects that go well beyond the technology. And these include clear communication and also respectful communication with a wide range of types of people that might be above you or below you in an organizational hierarchy, or maybe at the same level as you, or maybe not even in an organizational hierarchy that relates back to your role. So it really is important to think about how you communicate with them. In my experience, the ability to both lead and follow is a hard one to master. And there's always this temptation to stand on a pedestal as a BIM rock star when the opportunity takes us. Let's face it, the job market is competitive in BIM, and sometimes you might even be fighting shadow wars over internal promotions or new emerging roles in your organization. So it can be hard not to tackle that BIM rockstar role when the moment takes us. Whilst the path to this throne might be built on empty words and secret handshakes for a lot of us, I find the best leaders understand that no man or woman is truly an army on their own, although an army can still be led, of course. Sometimes you may need to lead or assist people when asked to, but more often than not, I think that part of a BIM leader's job is to find those opportunities themselves in order to lift other people up around them with them, or to bring people back down that might be drifting off a little bit too far up the chain of promotion or the chain of distraction. Another temptation even I've faced during my career is a tendency to hoard talent and knowledge for our own gain. When I was younger and a lot less experienced, this did seem like the best way to move forward in my own career, to load myself up with all the value that I could in order to get ahead in just my career. Having become a little bit older and hopefully a little bit wiser, I like to think, I've come to see that often the best and most valuable pathway is that of sharing knowledge with others and also drawing it out of other people around you or within your team in order to deliver the best possible outcome. Really what a leader aims for. We're all at different stages in our career, and it always pays to remember times in our career when we might not have been so far ahead ourselves, so it pays to be humble. We might not have always been such heavy hitters in the boardroom, or maybe we weren't well understood by our managers whilst we learned to communicate more effectively. What I do over on my YouTube channel at the Aussie BIM Guru from the outside might sort of look like I'm trying to build my reputation as an international BIM rockstar. But I can assure you that I don't often tell people, but I can assure you that a lot of people go well beyond what I teach them. And given enough time, they often come back to me and teach me things as well. And I found that this ability to maintain thought leadership involves also listening to other people as well. And whilst you can influence other people's journeys through being maybe that rockstar influencer, you still have to remember that everyone's at different places in their career. And some people will know more than you about some things, and some people will know less. It's just about how you can draw the most out of those people around you in order to benefit people the most in your career. So this to me is really what a true rock star in BIM should do, giving back as much as they can to the industry so that we can have more effective players on the world stage of BIM.